This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so before we get started with the session, let me introduce myself. Lakshman, having close to 14 years experience on the Java and the J2W technologies. I work for the product-based company. So every day, an hour, I'll be teaching the Java. So I have trained more than 15,000 candidates. Yeah, last 14 years, I'm doing these trainings. Yeah. This is a small introduction about myself, and this is a demo session. We are going to set the right expectations, what you are going to learn as a Java developer, as a full stack developer, what are things you need to know about that, and at the same time, like what is the approach, how I'm going to deliver this session. I'll be explaining. In between, if you have any doubts, anywhere you feel that like you have some doubts, like you feel free to make this session as interactive. You can ask any question. Yeah. So already you might have seen the TOC. I'm not going to once again TOC. So here when it comes to the Java as a Java developer, if you're starting your career as a Java developer, so the first thing is we would be learning we are going to learn the basic fundamental things every developer must aware of that. Working with the version control systems. These are version control systems are like Git. You must aware of that here. And once you get familiar with the git, like now the day one, the day you start about the your learning journey, the first thing is what are the projects or what are the applications you are going to develop. Everything you should put it in a one common repository where not today you may need it in the future. You want to refer something like now you can go back and you can refer that. And moreover, whenever you are working the any project, it can be a small project or big project. From the day one, you would be working with the Git. It is like either there is a the two cloud hosted services are there. One is a big, another one is we are going to use the GitHub. These are the two cloud hosted most widely used the cloud services. So the either Bitbucket or GitHub. Like no, so these are from the different companies. One is the Bitbucket. Some of the organizations use the Git. Some of the organizations they will use the GitHub. So to work with this GitHub or Bitbucket, you should know. So what are the Git is going to offer? Like, what are the command? Git is we can say it as a kind of a protocol kind of things. Like, by using these Git commands, we can work with the any one of these things, either Bitbucket or GitHub. You can work with that. So once you get familiar with this, then you need to get the build tools. Like whenever you're going to work on the projects, the build tools. So we will be using the build tools is the most widely used build tools in Java world is one is a Maven, another one is a Thread. These build tools, we are going to learn about these build tools, and the moment we start the our project, like core Java concepts when you're starting here, the first and with our first project we are going to create by using the Maven project, and what are the project we are going to develop, you will be pushing into the GitHub or Bitbucket, we are going to use it here. Now, the next one is you should get familiar with the IDEs. Okay, IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So you can take the any IDE like Eclipse or IntelliJ, or you can say the Visual Studio Code. So we should get familiar with the one IDE. So here in our case, we are going to use the IntelliJ IDE. We are going to use it. IntelliJ IDE, I'm going to use it here. So JetBrains IntelliJ IDE. So if you are already familiar with this, some other IDE, Eclipse or Visual Studio Code, continue to use that. Continue to use that here. We need not to switch to the IntelliJ IDE, but the most of the projects, like the majority of the companies, they will be using the IDE, IntelliJ IDE. They will be using that here. You can, to start with that, the IDE. If you are using the first time, you are learning the first time. Ensure that you are installing the IntelliJ IDE. You are going to install. Once you get that here, then we need to know what is the JDK. So what Java version we are going to use it here. Like the Java latest version, Java 20, but still industry is using the 11 or 8. We can say that here. The latest version is JDK 20. Recently, they have released that here. We will get start with the JDK 20 only. So we will not use the old. We will learn the what are the new features and like you know, because we are learning the Java is a first programming language. Some of the people might have already learned or they know Java, like no. So we can get started with the JDK 20 and what are the new features has been added from the current version, whatever you are using to the till today. All the features we can use it and we can learn that. And once you install the once you got the like JDK 20 or JDK 11 or JDK 11 and 8 is a major changes they have released, and JDK 17 like the stable version they have released, and JDK 20 very recently it is released. We can see that what are the features are there. We can check that. Then the next thing is once you get familiar with that JDK and you learn the all the Java concepts we learn that here, then you should know the SQL databases. Like, whether you can take the there is a two databases the projects are using these days. One is the SQL database, another one is a NoSQL database. I would say we would go with the SQL database, and this SQL database we are going to use the PostgreSQL. We are going to use it. PostgreSQL is a relational database like any other database like Oracle or MySQL, DB2, Derby. Like we have a plenty of databases are available in the market, and we are going to learn SQL by using the PostgreSQL. You are going to learn that here. This is a place where how we are going to persist your data, how we are going to retrieve the data. It is simple commands to the complex SQL queries, how to write the joins, and all the concepts I will be discussing in PostgreSQL. Once we learn about the SQL, we will be learning about the JDBC. This JDBC is a concept where how you are going to connect with the from your Java application to the database. How do you connect that? So these concepts we will be learning in JDBC. Along with that, when you are learning this core concept, this is I can say it as a this is a basic requirement for any Java developer. Any developer, this is a basic requirement. So you should familiar with the version control systems, you should familiar with the build tools, familiar with the IDE, then JDK, what is the version, core Java, what are the version you are using, then SQL and JDBC. Along with that, you should know the external file system. External files, one is like the property files, then you need to know about the ML files and the JSON files. How are you going to read the property files? How are you going to read the ML files? How are you going to use the JSON files? These things you should familiar with. With this knowledge, you can choose your career path now. Either you want to go it as a Java full stack developer, or you want to go it as an Android developer, or you want to go it as a the Java test, like test automator, test automation. You want to choose your career. Like now, you after learning this, you can choose the three paths here. One is you can go with the full stack developer. Then you have to your learning journey will start something different. Yeah. And if you are going it as the Android developer, yes, again you have a different learning journey. You can say that. Yeah, yeah, this is one. And if you are going it as a tester, like a test automation, you want to work on the Selenium or other frameworks. You want to work on that on the Java related testing frameworks. The most widely used test automation framework is a Selenium. So now here, one to learn either Java full stack or Android, or you can say it as a test automation. These are the base. These are the base. Like now here you will be working the summer file system like now Excel, then there is a CSV. Okay, these are the most widely commonly used file formats in the applications. Whenever you want to exchange the data, so you want to upload the data from the Excel to the database, or you want to download the data from the database, and you want to do the configurations, or you want to add a extra things configurations you want to add it here. Sometimes these days, if you are getting the data from the APIs, you will get it in the form of a JSON. How are you going to read the JSON files? How are you reading the ML files, Excel, and the CSV? These all these things we will be learning in this the first phase. This is we can say it as a module one. I can say that here. Okay, this is a module one. You will be learning all these concepts. You are going to learn that. And from where we are going to get started with that, like we will get start our Java discussion from the simple hello world example. From the installation to the first, we will learn about the dev environment setup. The dev env setup, we are going to learn that here, how to install the JDK and how to install the IDE, then how we are going to install the Maven and the Git, how we are going to install, and how to install the Postgres SQL. So these things, everything we learn from the baby steps. You are going to learn that here. And whenever you are learning the Postgres SQL or some other servers, when you are installing that, we will not install anything like traditional way of deploying the things. We will not do that here. Everything we are going to use the Docker, Docker containers. We are going to run that here, and where you will be introduced the here how to run the Docker and Docker containers, how we are going to run. Because these days nobody is installing in their machines traditional way of installing. I think people are not doing that. It is not recommended also. Like no, always, whenever you require a Postgres SQL, you run a one container and then make it as the service is available for you. Then you are going to stop it whenever you don't require that service. For that, we are going to learn here how to set up the Docker desktop. Okay, Docker desktop, how you will be doing the Docker desktop and running the containers, getting the familiar with the Docker and how to run the container, how to stop, and all these things you will be learning in this module one. You can say. So once you got familiar with this and you learn the core Java and you will get a this is we can say that is a core or fundamental area. Every developer must have this knowledge. Every developer must have this knowledge. If you decided you want to continue your career in the Java world, this is the fundamentals, must have skills. Okay. Somebody has a question? Go ahead, please. If you have any questions. Yeah, just I will pause for a minute. No, if somebody has a question, yeah, you can ask me so that I can clarify your question. Any questions so far? Any questions?
No.
No? Thank you. Now the next thing is we are once we learn this here, then we are going to learn about the UI technologies we are going to learn here. Now when you're learning the UI, so the UI concepts are UI when you're building the UI application. So this is a place where you are going to learn about the HTML, CSS, and JS. We are going to learn about the bootstrap, and here we are going to learn about the what is Ajax, okay, how we are going to use the Ajax. So these are the basic concepts. We must aware of that. We will be learning about these concepts we are going to learn. So here, one more thing, let me explain you that here we are not going to spend more time on the UI components. As a full stack developer, you should have the knowledge on the the UI side also. So we may spend what is this concept and we'll understand. And no, let's take it as a simple example. When you are building the application, you require a UI pages. What are the UI pages to build UI pages? What are the knowledge is required? And we'll discuss details about this each and every concept, and we'll create a simple applications. We are one or two applications we'll create it on the UI. Okay, I'm telling you here, we will not give the super focus on the the way we are dealing with the module one. We will not be discussing HTML, CSS in detail, like very minute details. We are not going to discuss that here, sir. At a high level, what is the things are available and how we are going to build a web pages. This is what we are going to discuss in the UI. And the next one is we will be learning about the server side. What are the applications you are going to build it in the server side. So these server side applications these days, the servlets and the JSPs, people are not using that. There is no point in discussing about the servlets and JSPs. We will get start with directly with the Spring framework we are going to discuss about. Okay, Spring framework, we are going to work on that here. In the Spring framework also we have a lot of modules are available. In that module, we will be learning about the core. So then we are going to learn about the AOP. Then we are going to learn about the JDBC, Spring Data, and the MVC. Then we are going to learn about the security. Okay, these are the modules. These are the modules we will be learning in the Spring framework. And this Spring framework is going to we are going to start with the Spring Boot. going to use the Spring Boot, and Spring Boot latest version is a 3. Uh, this is the latest version. We'll get started with that, and we learn fundamental concepts of the Spring and how the AOP works and what is the JDBC, Spring Data, MVC, the Spring Security. We learn. Once you learn this here, you learn the UI, you learn the Spring basic concepts you learn, and when you are working on the projects, the project, most of the projects will have the deep Java projects. These days, everybody is using the Spring framework. They are using that, and where you are going to learn here how to connect with the databases, how to deal with the transactions, and how we are going to write a RESTful web services, and how the RESTful web service is going to be served, and what industry follows the best standard practices. Those all these things you will be learning in the Spring framework you are going to learn. Once you are doing here the Spring framework, like what are the application, what are you are building here, either a core Java application or Spring Boot applications, whatever you build it here, you must aware of there is another concept called the JUnit. Okay, this JUnit I'll be covering as a part of the core Java itself. As a part of the core Java, I'm going to cover the one more topic. This is a JUnit, how to write a unit test cases. By using JUnit 5, I will be using that here. How are you going to write the test cases and how to see the your test code coverage, whether it has done the code coverage or not. These all the things we will learn when you're learning the JUnit 5. Once you are done with this, now here we need to work with the dev tools, CI/CD tools. We are going to work with that. And when you're working with the CI/CD tools, where I'll be introducing you how the Sonar Cube works, and then we learn about the Jenkins, how the Jenkins works, and then we'll learn about the how to install the different plugins Jacoco plugin, how to use that here, to analyze the your reports. That you need test cases reports, and to check that here we will be using the Jacoco. All these things you are going to use. And once you have got familiar with this, the next thing is how to deploy these applications, where to deploy and how we are going to deploy that here. So one of the cloud hosting service. So what are the cloud hosting services? Either you can go with we have a multiple options. Either you can go with the AWS, and there is something called the Render. Okay, Render is another site where Render is you can create you can host your application free. There are certain limitations. So what are the application we build? Suppose you are developing the application. What are the application you have built? This application you want to deploy into the some server, and you want to see the output how it looks like. This has to be consumed by the you want to expose your APIs. So when you have to deploy some common place, we need to deploy that. To deploy that, either you can use the AWS. Okay, AWS services, you can make use of that, or you can go with the render.com. As a hobby projects, I would recommend you people to go with the render.com, where it will not ask you the any credit card details or anything. Just we can log into the render.com. Let me log in here. So I'm going to open the render.com. This is a place uh, where where you can log in with your what are the account you have, GitHub account or Google account. So where they are offering the lot of services they are offering here. Some reason my build has failed. Okay, so this build is failed, and 10 hours ago it is built here. Now, if you look at here, suppose this is a UI application. It doesn't have anything here. It's a simple application, just logo, and these are the things we are going to see that here. JavaScript and what are the application? We are learning the JavaScript. Suppose if I'm here, reverse the given number 1, 2, 3. Yes, I'm going to get it here. So whatever I learn JavaScript, I'm going to deploy into the render.com. I'm going to deploy that here, so that we can see that the output we can see that here, and at the same time you'll get familiar with the okay why this is a build has failed. You can see the logs. What is the reason for that? Why this application is failed? Okay, the application has got some issue, and it is shutting down is completed. So I don't know why what is the reason it is failed. We need to check that here. Change Spring version. It is a status is not exited with the okay fine. I got it here. Why it is failed is here. I have changed my Spring versions. I have changed, and now I deployed that. So that was the reason it was failing. Okay, anyway, I'll fix this later. Don't. We need not worry about that. Like here, it is directly connecting the my source code repository. It is connecting here. Let's say if we take this here, I can see that here I have a multiple branches I'm having here. Uh, like let me go to the dev. Just one thing to commit. This was the latest build was it is failed. Latest build it is failing. Why this is failing? We can check that here. Like exactly, it was saying that here some issue with the previous commit. It is saying that here some issue with the previous commit. Issue fixed relationship and this all these things. Commit on the 6th April 6th April 5th. Okay, last commit is okay. I think I can take the view commit details. Suppose okay, we will get a several options. You'll get it here. This is the commit ID. This I can take the commit ID. Yeah, this is a commit ID. I can take it here. There was the previous modification. It was failing. Okay. Deploy specific commit. I can do that here. I can change. I can get this is a commit, and I'm going to say that here. This is what I'm going to say that here. Deploy. So now my build was failing because what it happens is here. Recently, I changed something. Because of that, some new things I have introduced that might have introduced the bug. Uh, the CI/CD jobs, what they are doing here is they are going to take the latest code and they are deploying. That's where my build has failed. So like you will get that real-time experience. Hey, when your build fails, how you are going to react that here, and immediately they will say that no, hey, you need to fix this. Like no, you cannot fix it. Sometimes it may take a little time, but you don't have the time. Then what you will do here is this feature may not be whatever the newly added feature may not be that important. You want to go back to the previous version and we are going to deploy that here. So at least you will get a small breather where you can go and fix the the where what are the things it's breaking. Okay, you get this experience when really you started practicing and you are exploring the things and if you have started using the services which are offered by the render.com or AWS, you can say that here. Why I'm saying the render.com is so here as a student, sometimes you may not have the credit card and all these things. I think AWS now they are allowing you to use the even debit card also. So you can register with them. They are going to charge you the $1 and you can pay the once you register with them, there is a 3 months or 1 year, some hundreds of hours. It's a free services are available, but you should be little careful here. If you forget to stop the some services, you may be end up with paying the some bills. So to avoid that, I would ask you people to explore the what are the hobby projects you are creating. Use the render.com and how to deploy your application, Docker application, how to deploy into the render.com. You can learn that here. These are the different sites. There like you can create your Postgres SQL database. You can create like now this Postgres SQL they will give the 3 months data, 3 months. I'm sorry, not 3 months data. It's only free for 3 months. And whereas the static and web services, it is a free, and there is a certain limitations. If you don't get request for the certain time, then they are not going to those servers are going to go in a sleep mode. So if you continue sleep, it's getting the request, then it won't happen. The sleep mode it won't go here, and there are certain limitations also. What are the limitations? Is you need to read about their documentation. You can read it here. But I would ask you strongly. So when you're playing with when you're learning the things practically how they are going to be deployed and how it will be created Docker files and how you are going to deploy and you see the output. Use the render.com. Earlier I used to use there is something called the Heroku. Heroku is another one cloud service, and these days they are not giving the free services. Everything is we have to do the the payment. So we don't require when you're learning uh, the concepts, no. So whether you go with either AWS or render.com, my recommendation is render. Now, once you learn this application, how are you going to manage this application? How to deploy that, and like how like your sometimes what happen you are going to use the AWS services, like how to start your Docker. how we are going to stop that Dockers. These are all the things we will be learning when you are learning the DevOps. When you are learning that here, we may not cover the DevOps like as a course separately. As a Java developer, what are the things is required? So the things we are going to install, and at the same time, you will use the tools whatever you have installed. You will use it, and you are going to build your applications by using these tools. CI/CD tools, you are going to use it, and you are going to build that. These are the things. I'm sorry, guys. Mainly, we are going to cover in this course. Okay. So, any questions so far? Any questions?
Yeah, can we work in Macs? Like only all these applications will work on Windows operating system or with Mac also.
Uh, I mean, see here. These days, it doesn't matter what operating system you are using. Most of the times, no, most of the times, I'm saying that. The reason is, okay, you are going to do the source code in the IDE. Okay, once you get this into the IDE, will be what are the coding you are doing here. You are going to do the coding. You are doing the IDE, and another one is you are going to do the installations by using the Docker. Docker is the Docker installation is specific to the operating system. But once you get the Docker and running the Docker, whether you are running on Windows or Mac, or it doesn't make any difference. So I think these days it is not a big problem with the operating systems because everything is we are doing in the cloud. And another thing is like what are the tools we are going to use it here? They have written on top of the operating system. They have written the wrappers for that. So the answer to your question, yes, you can use these tools on what are the tools I'm going to cover. It will work both Windows and the Linux and the Mac also.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah. Now you may ask the question like, no, hey, exactly what I'm going to build in this project. Like, no, are we going to build some application? Do you cover the web server and application server? Yeah, definitely we are going to cover web server and application server. What is the difference between them? Yeah. Okay. Now here you may get the one more doubt here. What I'm not doubt. Like, no, we may ask the like, no, end of the course. Like, no, what kind of applications you are going to build. So if you look at here, this is a dashboard. I'm going to take it here. IPL stats. This is one of the simple example where where we are going to build. Okay, this is what index.html. We should open this. Now I'm going back to the dashboard. Okay, IPL stat application. I'm going to use it here. Now I'm going to run this application. So this is going to open the this is what this is a simple application. One of the application which was developed in the previous batch, like the previous batch, what are the example we created. I'm just demoing that here. Now here it is asking the username and password, and to default username and password, this is what we are saying that here. So I'm going to use the user and the user at the rate of 123, and this is going to when I make a call. So when I log in here, I'm going to click on this login. I think my service is not at up, so it is failing. It is failing that. So we can debug that application. What are the things it is happening? Okay. Uh, when I'm clicking on this here login, my login is still it is okay. There is a course problem. It is saying that here. Oh, okay. There is another problem which was introduced here. Um, in my in my application, what I did was here while pushing the code, I forgot to change the server URL. I forgot to change that here. So that's the reason it was not working. Anyway, to make it work, just I'm going to IntelliJ IDE. I'm going to write it here. I'm going to run this IntelliJ IDE. Oh, okay. Every demo fails. Even my demo also failed. No. So anyway, this can be fixed. It can be fixed easily. what you could do here is you are going to the this is a source code. I'm going here. So one of the files in JS file, if you look at here, login.js file, where I did was here. I hard coded this value. Like no, this is the value I hard coded, but generally we shouldn't be doing that here. So we need to get the main.js. If you look at here, so it should be the URL should be this is what something. This is what it should be. I'm going to copy this here. Don't worry. Uh, okay, just on the fly we are fixing the things. Okay, which is not good. That's okay, fine. Here we are going to do this login.js file, and here I'm going to edit this here. The moment you edit this, what happens? You just look at this here. This is a IPL stats API slash R. Okay, let me copy this here. What is the difference between these two things? Let me see this here. Okay, this is still here. It's a common. Still here it's a common. Just I'm going to Control X. Word, Control C, Control X. Till API, I'm going to put it here. This is what I'm going to write it till API. There is no issues. I'm changing that here URL changed to prod URL. Something I'm changing here. So this is what I'm going to commit the changes to the dev branch. I'm committing here. You just look at this here. I commit the change, and now if you go back and if you look at the dashboard, you see here automatically it started deploying. Automatically, the moment I change the code, the render.com it is watching the your repository. The moment it is keep on polling your repository. On that repository, whenever the changes is happen, immediately it is triggering the build. It is going to trigger here. Now you can see that here. What is the things it is happening in the events? If you go and look at that here, so it's a deployment is started. Okay, it started the deployment. What are the changes? You can see that here. Earlier it was local host. Now it has been changed to the this is what it is changed that. That's one thing it is going to tell that here. Here HTTP you are using. Here it is using the HTTPS here. It is using here. So these are the changes has been deploying. That's what it is saying that here. Now the deployment may take the couple of minutes or couple of seconds. It may take it here. Depends on the what kind of application you are deploying. If it is a web application, it would be very quick. If you are using the those things, it may take the little time. So now here, whenever things goes like no things goes wrong, again immediately we are fixing and we are deploying that, and deployment is successful. There is no problem. Now I'm going to this and I'm going to call this is what we are using here user at the rate of 123 is my password. I'm going to use it here. The moment I use this user at the rate of 123 password I'm using here, still there is an issue. You go to the network. I'm going to clicking on this here. Okay, reflight. Oh, still it's pointing the local. Okay. Okay, we have changed that here. Still it's pointing to the local. User at the rate of 123. It shouldn't be pointing to the local because we have changed that URL. Okay. Now, what is the URL it is making? Yeah, it is making the request to the. This is what it is making. Request is making to the. Yeah. Now you can see here. Now you are going to see that here. This is what like no, the IPL statistics. These are the RESTful web services we have written. And if you look at this here, the data. Uh, okay. Yeah, some things might be bouncing nice. Just I'm explaining that here. What exactly by end of this course and what are the things you are going to build, what kind of applications you can build. I'll be explaining that here. This is a DBOR is another tool you will be learning. DBOR is a kind of a, you can say that as a GUI tool for the interacting with your databases. Like this is one of the most popularly used tool, we can say that here. You can connect with any of the databases. Either you want to connect with these are the databases. Multiple databases are available. You can choose the what database you want to connect. Suppose if I want to connect with the PostgreSQL, I would be connecting with the PostgreSQL. Now I'll show you that here how our data is organized in the form of a tables. I'm going to show you that here. Here we have a player details. Okay, there's something called the player table PQR. PQR, yeah, player. So this is the data we are having in our database. We have this is the data we are having here. From this database data, I want to get a meaningful statistics. I'm going to get it at here. Meaningful statistics I'm going to get it here. And from this player, what are the things we are getting here? Hey, each team, how much they have spent and how much amount they have spent. But that we don't have that here. The amount is at the player level, but we don't have the. Hey, somebody microphone is on. Do you have any questions? Go ahead, please. If you have some question, Chaitra, do you have any questions? Okay, yeah. Here we have this data, and now from where you got this data is we got the data from the various websites. We got it here. They have given the the player information. Like now, first we collected the data into the. You can see that here the data we are collected as some CSV file or this is what like no teams.json and player.json. You take these CSV files and these CSV files we uploaded into the we added all this player information CSV file data to the into our database we uploaded for uploading and doing that here we would be using we have used the in this application there's something called the we use the JPA. Okay, Spring JPA we have used here, and when you're doing the JPA, and we have a team, and the team has got the multiple players. Team has got the list of players we are going to take here, and the entire data we have inserted into the database. Like here we are using this database also it is running in the cloud. Okay, this database also it's running in the cloud. I'll show you that where our database is running also. Just I'll show that here. In the render.com itself, I have a one more service I'm running here. I think it is not my database. I am using some. I think one of the student has created the database. His database I'm using. You can look at that here, where this database is running. It is running in render.com. It is running here. Like one of the cloud service he has created and he has given the credentials and everything. And I'm connecting with the cloud database. I'm connecting here. Now from here in our application, what we did was we got the data in the form of a CSV file. We got it here. Like no, this we can say it as a flat file. We got it here, and this flat file data you have written. We are writing a server side code. This server side code it will take this flat file data like no teams data. One is a team file. Another one is you're going to take the player file. This flat file data it has given to the server. Okay, this file also it is going to read it from the file system. It is going to read it here. And here we are doing some processing. We are going to do that here. We will be creating some model object and mappings we are doing here. Finally, we dump the data into this database. Okay, we dump this data into the database. This file system, either it can be a JSON or it can be a CSV, whatever the format it is available. We would be taking this JSON or CSV file we are going to take here. Okay,
అసలు ఎవరు
and
బ్లూటూత్
once you Yes, when you are connecting your microphone is on. Sometimes inadvertently will turn on the microphone and unknowingly you are speaking. Okay, I'm going to mute Gayatri. Sure. So this is the flat files data. We are going to write it here. Server side code you are going to write it here. Finally, you will be deploying. You are going to push that code into the database. Now, as a Java developer, this is your responsibility. How do I read this file? How do I read this file? And how do I what are the data I read it here? How I'm going to insert into the particular table? How I'm going to insert into the particular table? When you're reading the data, sometimes the data may not be in the clean format. Like so, you need to clean the data. And there is the team and we are getting the two files you are getting. One is the team details, another one is the player details. How the team and player is related? How do you maintain the relationship? So that is you're going to define at the time of designing the schema. Like now the table you will have there is a two tables. One is a table you can say it as a team, and then you are going to take it as a one more table is the player. And the player and the team there should be the primary key and foreign key relationship. Like now each team might be having the 25 players. You cannot repeat the team name in for every player. What you do here is you're going to create the team object. We are going to create it here. There is a team object, and there is here it is a player object, and we are going to maintain the team and player we are going to maintain this, some relationship we are going to maintain here. This relationship, how to do this relationship, you will be learning in the SQL. How this is a tables are created and how we are going to linking between these two tables you will be learning here. Now here in this case, if you want to see that how my tables are related, now I have a table called the team details. I'm going to open the ER diagram, entity relation diagram. I'm going to open. This is one. My team has got the list of players. This is a one-to-many mapping. I'm going to see this here. Like, what is the relationship between the team ID will be stored in every player. Team ID is going to be stored in every player. It is going to be stored here. And how these relationships are going to maintain, we will be learning about that. And at the same time, and how you are going to read these CSV files or JSON files in your server side, and how you'll be dumping into the database. You are going to learn that. For this, you must have the knowledge on the core Java, and then you must have the knowledge on the JDBC. If you are using the web services and if you are using the Spring, so these are the concepts you must have. Okay. Once you are done with this dumping, now I have dumped the data. Like now, what are the data I have? I have dumped that here. Now what I'm doing here is there is a player. Like now we have a player data we are having here. Suppose I want to find a. Okay. Now I'm going to find the let me open the SQL script. I'm going to open a new script. I'm going to create it here. Let's we'll write a simple code. Select a star. I'm going to set as a player. Okay. This is going to give me all the players details. It is giving, but it is not giving any insights. Like no, there is no meaning. Like you cannot find the meaning out of this. Now what I want to use it here, I want to find the team wise. Each team, how much amount they have spent, I want to get it here. Now I would be writing a very simple query. This is a select. Okay, I'm going to take it as a team name. I want to get the p dot label and p dot sum of. I'm going to take it as a p dot amount. I'm going to take it here from layer p join inner join. Don't worry about this inner join team detail p and on p dot id equal to, we are going to say that here p dot team underscore id group by I'm going to take the p dot p dot I'm going to take the id. I'm going to take it here. Okay, based on the team id you get me these details I'm saying here. Now RCB has spent the 93 crores, DC has spent the 87 crores, LSG has spent the, this is a like no IPL, the currently it is happening. Like the players, how much they have spent. There is a total 10 teams, how much money they have spent. This is what I'm getting this data. Now you cannot ask your client to do this here, no? Like no, you want to do the visual representation, you want to do that here. The query result, I want to give to the UI developer. The UI developer is going to develop a screen where you would be displaying this information in the form of a column chart. Or this is a column chart. Is going to show it in a column chart. To do that, we need to write a APIs. To write these APIs, we have to have the knowledge of the Spring and the Spring MVC. You should have the knowledge. So this is the main job of the Java developers. You can say that. This is whatever is going to write here. He is going to write the API. So how to connect with the database and how you are retrieving the data. So this is where you are going to IPL stack service. Like if you look at here, this is the place where we have defined that here. The label and the total amount we are going to get it here, and where you will be writing the same query, you will be writing in one of these places. You might have written this here. You can see this here, the same query you can see here. When you are getting the team statistics, find the player, join, and we are going to do this here group by team label. You are going to. So what are the result you are getting here? This result has to be given to the UI developer. Like these days the UI application completely decoupled from the server side application. We are not making any monolithic applications. We are making the applications like the server side code. It will be maintained in a separate server. The UI code will be maintained in a separate server, and it will be deployed separately. So this UI can be anything. Today Angular, tomorrow you may go with you want to support the mobile applications, and mobile applications also Android you have, and then you have a iOS. Then there are times like maybe other systems may want to talk to your systems. Okay, these all these things will become the client. Here we are going to take it as Android, Android, we are going to take it here. This we are going to take it as some other system. Let's take it as a Paytm. Paytm doesn't have the any shops, no, or they don't have the any products, but they are selling the everybody products they are selling here. Like now, how they are going to get the data? They will be talking to the various other server service provider vendors. They will talk to that here. Their products they are going to display in their website. They are going to display that here. Website or portal they are going to display. The similarly, when you develop the server side application, you client can be anything. It can be Android application. It can be a other application. We don't know which language it is developed. Also, other application where they want to talk to the your application, and finally they need to get the data. In order to get this data, like no, in order to like no, he is asking that, hey, can you give me the latest to five products, like latest to five products they are asking here, and he is asking that, can you give me the cheapest to five products? I want to market that so that where I can increase the traffic for your products, or I can sell it that items. Like now, some guy might be asking something else. When they are talking to each other, they should have the common language. Like now, Android is talking to the my Java application, and PHP application is also talking to the my Java application. Other application also is talking to the my application. So they should have the common format. Either you will be using the either XML or JSON. When their systems are talking, when I say that here, it means that they are exchanging the data. They are asking the server, giving some data, and they are expecting some data. And typically, this exchanging of the data will happen in this common format is either XML or JSON. Okay. So you are going to build a web services. You are going to build it here. How to build these web services? That's what we will be learning in Spring MVC. You are going to learn that here. Okay. There are a lot of questions are popping up. Oh, is it my voice is not clear? Can you? Is it with everyone?
It's clear for me.
Yeah. Good. Now here, yeah, this is what. Now my APIs also should not be accessed by everybody and anybody. So then I have to provide a security for that. Hey, whoever is having the access key, only those guys can access the my services. To do that, we will be using the introducing Spring Security. So now here, let me go back to my application. What are the applications we developed? Just we are writing the APIs and we are exposing that APIs, and the person who is having the credentials, only he can log in and he can see the statistics. Based on the selection of this team, we are going to get the team details. We are going to get it here. Okay, let me select this here. RRR, if I'm selecting here, who are the players, all the list we are getting here. This is one of the simplest application. I'm saying that here. One of the simplest application where to introduce the whole end-to-end application works. This is what one application we developed after completion of the this module. Okay, Spring module. We would be doing the like this 2 3 applications we will be doing that here, and here also we are going to introduce the a lot of CLI projects we will be doing, and at the same time I'll be giving the some assignment questions and quiz questions I'll be giving to the core Java module. And here it will take little longer than the core Java. When I say that here, we are not going to learn core Java alone. We are learning a lot of other stuff, like working with the property files, working with the Docker, and working with the Git and build tools. These all these things introducing that it may take little while, and this is a foundation. Once you get the strong knowledge on these things, and you can go and learn other concepts on your own as well. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to cover, and the approach is like no. Whenever the code is, what are the code I'm going to write it here in the application, like in the classroom. The entire source code is going to be shared. Like no day one, what are the examples we have done that it will be shared with you. Day two, what are the examples we have done. Day seven, like no, if you look at the day 20, what are the examples we have done that here. The live code, whatever I'm going to code it here, and that code will be shared with you in the GitHub. You can clone that project, and uh, you can go and modify that code, or you can create your own repository. You can take this repository as a reference. You can take. So this is what you can expect the from this course. On top of that, like no, I saw that the course content there is some Python introduction. Okay, the introduction to Python. I will show you the practical uses of the Python, where exactly we are going to use it here. Like when you are working in the Java applications also, Sometimes what do you do? You may get the data in different formats. You get it. You want to convert into the your required format. You want to convert by cleaning the things like something called the ETL. We can say that here, but we will not do the entire ETL. Sometimes you may need to write the scripts where you can do quickly things. You can do it in quickly in Python. So suppose you are getting the data in some flat files you are getting here. That flat files, 4 5 files you are getting here. These 4 5 files data you need to read it, and you have a target format, and you want to write this entire data CSV data. You want to write it in a target file, JSON file. You want to write it. Now reading these files and filtering the data and cleaning up the data, doing in Java, it's a little challenging. I'm not saying that it cannot be doable. It's a little challenging, we can say that here, where I can write a Python script. Ultimately, what I need to read these 3 files, and I have to write this data into this single file. I want to write it here, and that too in a different format. I have to write it here. If you are giving somebody is giving this task to me, see, they are not worried about the how you are doing that here. They want to clean the data, and finally they want to get it in the JSON format. They have to get it here. If you are doing the same thing in Java, you may need to write a lot of code, and it is a time consuming process where we can write the Python scripts, and we can convert into the like quickly we can write it so suppose if it's Java is taking the 10 hours, Python probably you may write it the script in maybe 2 hours. I can within 2 hours you can complete that. That kind of flexibility you will get it in Python. But you cannot say that no, Python is going to be the replacement for the Java. So whenever you are building the enterprise grade applications, everybody is going with the Java than the Python. But Python, certain things we can do it in Python very quickly and easily. We can do that here, like kind of this scripting, writing the scripts, and making the some of the things automation. Those things you can do it in Python. But still, your core concept, core things are going to be developed in Java. So we'll introduce the what is this Python and how to work with the Python, and writing the scripts in Python. I'll be explaining. This is what the overall we are going to cover in this entire Java full stack. Any questions? Yeah, certain things if you are learning the first time, it might have been like so. Yeah, some things are I'm fixing on the fly and I'm deploying that. So that's the way it will be developers life and developers job will be like so we don't know every day we'll get a surprises, like we should be ready for that. And suppose I'm a very confident that because I have developed these things, okay, things went wrong, where it went wrong I know very well. But in organizations, the things you may not develop each and everything, like somebody else might have developed, and things will be failing, and they will assign you ticket to that. You need to understand that, and then you have to analyze that. Then you are going to fix that, and finally you are going to test that. It will be given to the QA team, and then they are going to test that. If everything is fine, then it will be merged to the production. There will be a big process for that. Since when you're learning, we have everything is in our control. If something goes wrong, how quickly, like I know what went wrong, so immediately we fix that and we deploy that. Same thing, sometimes in the product also, people will be very knowledgeable people. They will be doing the same thing. They know each and everything where it is, so what is happening. But there will be a process. You cannot do deploy the way I have done that here. So that has to be approved. That has to be like people has to certify that if say things are fine. So there are lot of process will be there. Yeah. So those process also you like we cannot learn when you are doing the training sessions. Once you enter into the company or once you are working in a like started working on projects, then you will get used to that processes. For that we will be raising the Jira tickets, how to create a Jira tickets, how to see that when the ticket is assigned, how you are going to comment on that and taking up that work. So if time permits, I will explain that as well. So that's all for demo session from my end. If you have any questions, I will take your questions. Otherwise, I'm done. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I hope you got something this 1 hour session. Yeah. So see you in the upcoming sessions. If you don't have any questions.
Hello. Is this session
Yes,
recorded?
session is
I mean, like,
yes,
could you
yes.
please share it because I joined late and like I couldn't.
Yeah, sure. We are going to take the first 3 days recordings with you. Yeah, you can watch the recordings. This demo session and another 2 more sessions.
Okay. Thank you.
We cover any simple video calling. Messaging. Yeah, so we will do that, Suresh. Like now, we are going to use the Apache Kafka. We will be using. So how do you uh, video calling? Messaging. Yeah, messaging application. If I'm not wrong, so what I understood was like, no, you are going to work with messaging servers. Yes, we are going to work with that. Apache Kafka we will be using.